So yeah, we're hoofing it. My group will spread out Nefiro's gear. One person carries the railgun alone.
So are you slowed down by that or not slowed down? Just checking.
We're probably a little slower. Burden specifically.
Burden.
So it probably takes you maybe 2.5 to 3 hours instead of the 2 hours you first took.
Oh, here it
Maybe
is.
even just maybe 2.5 hours, because the first time you took a more circuitous route to avoid detection and try to hide among the rocks. So here you're just beelining it.
Right. More
So
specifically,
you get there. Yeah.
Just for clarity, when burdened, you don't have any dash and you run slower. But if we're just hoofing it and marching,
and all your dice are
Long
capped by your
distance.
endurance die.
yes.
So you guys have reached the bottom of the cliff, and there's now this 5 kilometer stretch going up. It's beginning to get later. You're that 1 to 2 hours away from nightfall. What would you like to do?
Well, if it's at nightfall, we probably don't want to climb in the dark. That would invoke more penalties, right?
Unless you have some sort of equipment, any sort of like long-term lighting.
We do have we do have at least one survey kit, but that probably is not enough for lighting up the entire 5 kilometer haul for everybody, especially considering Lisk is going to need to be airlifted.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think we're probably just going to camp down here at the base of it, and my gorillas will set up a little bit of a watch.
Do you guys have any sort of camping equipment? Are you trying to find a natural cave in the caldera? Are you looking for any sort
like
of
a
position?
cave or like a lisp or something, just if there's just like a slight elevation of the terrain, we can just camp up against that. Or even up against the wall would technically be acceptable too, I think.
So I would say either, God, none of the skill. I would say that would be probably an observation or an academics to find something exactly like what you want. Either academics to know, the geology here would be conducive to some sort of cave system being in this area, or observation to just be scanning, and I'll allow any
Wouldn't
survey
you know it?
dice bonus.
You can choose both.
Both.
Do you want us to roll both?
I use both. Yeah, roll both.
All right, so I'm gonna have Lisk roll that. He already has 5d6. He's wearing his science outfit as we declared before. He's not that bright. Which means he'll have science instead of survey. I guess it doesn't matter which outfit he's wearing. It would be a d8 either way. And this isn't a research task. So Lisk personally has 2 successes.
All right, so that's enough that it's actually what he's been working on when you guys went down into the bunker. And that's why you guys weren't. That's why you didn't take the shuttle in the end, was because he hadn't quite figured it all out. He was actually just mapping out some of the caldera and working on doing research in the area. And so he's actually found a small cave system that's large enough for all of you to be in there, and with even some sort of entrance of some kind that's somewhat sheltered in case there's any sort of dust storm or anything like that.
Or,
So
or more of those random little fireworms.
Or fireworms. So you all shuffle in and bed down to wait through the night. Are you going to set a watch involving any of you, or just your gorillas?
Let me see. I think my regulars. Yep, they're all lampiers, so they all have observation, so they at least have 2d6 for that. And if you want to take one, but I know you're injured, I think.
Injured and doesn't have good observation dice.
Get some rest. Lisk could also maybe take a watch, but he doesn't have weapons, so he's just going to alert anyone if anything happens. Because he's good at that.
Okay. So
I'll get my door.
spend the night setting up a little bit of a watch, and it's it's a rather beautiful night. There's lots of there's some geothermal events that happen out in the caldera, and if you have night vision goggles or any sort of thermal vision, it's rather beautiful. But aside from that, you wake up in the morning feeling better.
Wonderful. And now we have the climb, or in the case of the Lampier group, our flight upwards. So all the Lampiers can fly. Some of them are going to fly a bit slower because they're burdened, but I think they can make it. They made it down. So what do you think, Eli?
They can flying is not going to be a problem here. It'll just you can fly all the way up. The question is, how are you going to get Ezreal, Jamin, and Neferu?
I think the argument is endurance.
Mm-hmm.
Flying up is easier than gliding down.
Yes. Do you have endurance dice?
Me personally, no. The rest of the group, also no. These are very fast and flighty people.
You could fly up without any problems, but then you would take fatigue.
Right,
I
think that'd be fine.
status.
I'm perfectly fine with being fatigued after that. So my group will go ahead and do it. We'll be fatigued, but at least everyone will be up there. And I guess that just leaves the case of the bodies and Neferu.
And I would say without
chime in. How heavy are you?
Without endurance dice, you can't carry them up by flying.
Yeah, so the bodies are gonna have to stay there. And I guess we're abstracting Lisk, or does Lisk also need to be carried?
Lisk would also need to get up there.
Yeah, he's not exactly a climber as it is.
Are my dice limited by endurance to climb?
Is that what endurance does? Does endurance limit your dice?
Yeah. When you're burdened, your skills are capped at your endurance. Plus, your endurance can't be higher than a D8, apparently.
I would say it only is capping you if you're burdened. And since you guys are freshly awoken, you weren't doing a lot of marching, then it won't cap the endurance won't cap you here.
Okay.
Essentially, what you're doing here is you're doing a marathon, straight up, because it's. That's what
Neferu has to pull this off basically for everybody else.
Because I mean, that's basically what this is. Even if you're flying, you gotta flap them wings.
Those are some successes for Neferu, though.
Those are 2 successes, and that will get you up to the top.
And we're at the walker.
You're at the walker, which no one has transport, correct?
That's true, but at least we won't crash and burn the walker. We'll maybe just bump it.
No, remember the walker has breakdown dice.
Oh yeah, it might just break down anyway. Well, I think at least we're safer in the walker.
Well, I mean, the ship probably didn't have breakdown die. You gotta probably just...
At least when it has a problem, we won't explode. That's what I care about right now.
No, the walker might.
Doggy, you gotta go.
Yeah, that's true. The walker could explode, right? Out of control. Yep. So, you guys are all loaded up into this walker. Who's going to try to drive it?
I guess I would nominate Neferu. You have your personality back. You have the biggest speed die out of every single person who's conscious. It's got to be on you.
All right, then.
Wait, so speed?
I'm assuming this is a speed transport roll.
Why would it be speed?
By basic assumption as well.
Wouldn't it be mind?
Yeah, I think it would be mind.
All right. Well, I've still got my personality. My mind is D6.
And then you'd also have a D8 breakdown dice.
Do I need another success?
Nope, that's good enough. So Nefair, you were able to pilot this thing out. It it might be a little bit slower, but you do have 2 successes, so it takes you a little bit of time to get used to the walker, but before you know it, you're outside of this uh, uh, this restricted area, and you're back into the industrial city of Putov. What
we
would
got
you
this
like to
hunk of
do?
junk here. Perfect. Well, I guess we ought to check in with our employer and probably pick up some spare parts and fix our friend and let the other one rest up for a bit. Which part do you want to take care of, Nefiru?
I'll take Ezra to a hospital.
Okay. Go ahead and take G-Min with you. Pick up some scraps, and Liz can go ahead and come with you. Once you get the scraps, he'll go ahead and try fixing G-Min right up. I'll go ahead and talk to our employer and make sure everything's handled.
All right.
Okay. So first, for the hospital visit, it looks like that just costs 0.2 notes. Right. With a because all you need is wrote 1 success to per person, or how does that work? I'm new to the healing in this game.
Guess if it's got a cost, it's got a cost.
Sorry, what are you asking?
What do they have to do, like mechanically? How does it work to do healing on Ezreal and Neferu?
Well, I mean, Ezreal is only unconscious, right?
Yeah.
Well, then that's just time.
Okay. Well, if he's unconscious, is he also still considered to be hurt and injured? Like,
Well,
does it just
hurt,
take time to take away
hurt goes
those?
away within 5 minutes of a fight, having received any sort of first aid. Injured is a time thing as well. You receive healing over time. Every day is like a percentage to that check. I believe the count is still 24 in Myriad Song.
Yes.
Okay. So would going to a hospital be purely like a role play thing, or would it actually give any bonuses to recovering from any of those statuses?
And unconscious is 13 hours minus 1 body die roll. So 13 hours minus whatever his body is. He'll wake up.
Probably would be awake already, technically, then.
Yeah.
Well, you get
Just was in no condition to climb.
You get ticks on your healing quota based on how good your doctor rolls, and these doctors wrote for how many successes?
It looks like, at least by how the book leaves it at, it's 1.
All right. Well, then that would be, I believe, 5% on the healing quota.
Once per day, after each proper rest in a bed with good nutrition and otherwise fair health, the character gains 5% progress towards being healed.
And then the hospital would give another 5%, so every day you'd recover 10%?
Or more even claim this 5%. Special gifts such as doctor can speed this up.
And the doctor would have the gift.
Yep.
Does anyone know what that gift is called?
Doctor.
I know, it's real hidden in there.
That is, yeah.
As long action over 1 hour, you can help patients make progress on recovering from injured, sick, or addicted Roll your mind, academics, and a bonus d12 from Doctorus 3. Each success adds 5% progress to curing one condition of your choice: injury, sick, addicted, etc. A doctored character may not be doctored again until after their next rest. So 5% per success on that roll.
Then you could just assume a roach. So, like, if he's a skilled doctor, just 2 successes or something.
Well,
Or roll. I don't know.
it depends, because I don't think any. I don't know what species or legacy are they.
So this says that under healthcare, that a hospital visit is I found it under medical services. It's under it twice. So if you this is on page 166. So if you want one success at a hospital, it's 0.2 notes. If you want like a doctor that's going to give you more than that, then it's for 2 successes you have to get 3 notes, and for 3 successes you need 10.
Actually, if you notice, it says specifically a doctor consult has the doctor gift, whereas the other ones do not, and you need the doctor gift to get those successes.
Oh, okay. Okay. So just the hospital visit.
So if you want a doctor's consult, an intensive care unit, or you go for the dark clinic consult.
Yeah, just throw in the back alleyway table. Nothing bad could happen there.
Good. Pay him 10 notes to get 15%.
For 15 notes, you could give him cosmetic surgery.
No,
Where's
I'm
your
going to
priorities
go
at?
for a doctor consult with 2 success wrote for the Pharaoh.
So that would give you a 10%.
Well, I guess technically 15 overall since you slept earlier.
Yeah. It sounds like it'll take 20 days to get all the way back.
Yeah, it's downtime
if you
time.
have no
it seems.
healing.
Well, I
You have
mean,
no
technically you can do anything during this time. You could even continue the adventure, because literally it's just +1 damage.
Yep. So that'll definitely be something to discuss.
Yeah, so you're doing that. You're choosing to buy some hospital care. You're taking a doctor consult for yourself. We don't know. We might as well just play as real as if he hasn't gotten any healing, and then if he needs something, we can roll it back since he's not here.
Right. We can always backtrack and ask, like, "Hey, you had this much time. How much healing do you get?"
So for Jamin, were you the really high level of dying? Like, do you need 2 spare parts, or do you need 1 spare part to fix?
I'm dead. I don't know what you mean by the really high level of dying. I'm dead.
Yeah, because
overkilled is what he means. I think.
Cyberbrain.
No, I was right at dead. If I was overkilled, I don't know why that you're carrying my body around, because there's no body to carry.
Because we could use some spare parts.
There wouldn't be spare parts if I was overkilled.
I didn't know if you were.
So Theta, what do people need to do for you?
Well, you need to buy some spare parts, and then you
Okay.
need to find a mechanic.
How many?
Well, so what I'm wondering is if you were dying or if you were dead.
No, I said dead.
You were
when
dead.
I say
Okay,
dead, I mean dead.
So you need the electric and the mechanical spare part, which are easy to find. Those are easy to find in this city. That would be 2 notes.
All right,
And then
I'll go ahead and pay for those.
And then you need to find someone to
How
do the fixing.
How many successes does it take?
It requires 3.
Okay, yeah. So then we do have to like find someone to actually go do it.
Because the highest craft you guys have is 2, correct?
I have a D4. Woohoo.
Correct. We're not the smart crew, but we are the frugal crew.
All right, let's see. So you want The highest or the lowest you'd need is an expert, which looks like because then you'd have the 3 dice,
Mm-hmm.
and that would be 10 notes a day. So it'd be roughly a note an hour, 2 notes an hour.
Okay.
10 divided by like
So
1 1/4.
We did this math before. Remember, they only consider a day to be about 8 hours.
Yeah. So 10 divided by 8. So
right.
you've got 1 1/4 notes for each roll.
Okay. So I'm gonna say until he's back alive, or we meet our maximum amount of money.
So would you like me to roll, or who would like to roll?
I don't have hands, so you can roll.
I was gonna say Nefera was rolling a lot of ones.
Griff was in a horrific accident when we weren't watching him.
He
I
has
got a
no
dog
hands.
in my lap. I'm like at a 90-degree angle from my keyboard.
I'm
now.
aware.
My
I keep
keyboard-
having to change your camera around.
Would I be able
rolled-
to?
Yeah.
I was just wondering if I would be able to vote to give him an assist.
Sure. Yeah, you could assist.
My scientist is also there, who could probably do the same if you want a second D8.
He'll take assist from one of you. He's a specialist, but he's your friend, so he'll take that. That's a 2. So the
Okay.
first hour he fails,
All right. So then we move to the second hour.
and the second hour he gets it, and then with 3 successes, he's managed to put Jamin back together. So that'd be 2.5 notes from his repair fees as he puts him back in.
All right.
How could you trash this?
Well,
How could you trash this beautiful cup holder already? Let me fix it.
it was just the cup holder that was damaged the whole time. Man, what an
Yeah, that's
expensive
all it
thing
was.
to replace.
It was dangling off on the side.
I'm sorry, G-Man. All of your internal servos and organs that are still existent are attached to the cup holder now.
Yeah, he's just done the first thing. The first failure was just because he didn't use enough duct tape. It's just an enormous amount. So for that's handling the 2 of you. For Mitherlin, you're returning to your boss. You're returning to Ognar Scroll.
That's right. We got to go talk to him.
All right. What would you like to do? You know his his hangout.
I wasn't here for how we first contacted with him, but I need to follow back through the steps, which is probably go to the hideout, introduce myself, say I'm here to see him, I finished the job, I'm looking for my pay.
He basically has a large facility, or not a large facility. He basically has a large office on the top of, like overlooking a large factory. And so you'd enter the factory and you move through the workers and the guards that he has, and you go up a large catwalk until you've reached where he where his entrance is.
Mm-hmm.
And you go up there and you knock, and there he makes you wait for just a little bit before you're finally let in to see him. Hello, it's good to see you, Mitherlin. You were rather quiet the last time we met, but it's a pleasure to see you.
Yeah, I had a bit of a bug in my throat. Don't mind that.
Where?
That's an interspecies joke. You get it? See, I'm bugging. I'm looking for my mom.
Where are your companions? I hope they are all right.
They got roughed a little bit. They're fine. They're recovering right now. So they sent me, and I'm here to pick up the paycheck.
Tell me how. What happened?
Oh, well, it's a huge caldera. We had to take a big long walk. We parked the walker up top. Took a nice long climb all the way down. Most of us flew. And then took the walk to his facility. He had a couple of these large automated drones with rail guns. I don't remember hearing about those, but we had a real gun too. We found what was his name? I gotta scroll on my notes here. Bend my arm to do it. We found Rene DeVoe at his facility, and after some aggressive negotiations, he relented, and we delivered our package to the computer.
Delightful, delightful. That is, I'm most enthused to hear that. And what else?
Well, we had to drag a couple people who were unconscious, not to mention G-Min, all the way back home. A little bit uneventful after that, fortunately.
Tell me, how is the vehicle? How is the walker I loaned you?
It's still intact. We got it parked over at this location. Didn't break down either.
Did you happen to park it in a safe location? Maybe in a metered spot or in a lava worm field?
No, I don't think we parked it around a lava worm field at all. Nefiro did the parking job.
That's good. You see, I don't like being played around with, and I sent some folks to go check out the ship you're returning, and I seem to have found it parked in a rather unusual spot. Looks like you dinged it up a little bit.
I'm gonna go ahead and just scratch the back of my head, and probably in the midst there's a little bit of that insect chirping as the elytra opens a bit, chirps. Something in languages nobody else understands, and I didn't see any damage.
So
It ran just
what
fine all the
happened
way back here.
when you guys had landed, and I think you were gone for that session, lava worms had attacked the ship, and they damaged
so this is stuff I was entirely missing.
and then ate out the reactor and then left.
Ah, right. So I'm gonna
maybe
just
you're
go.
not even aware. So
Yeah, I'll just be like, did something happen while I was asleep on the way over? Nobody said anything.
I like your humor, and I'll give you that. You're ballsy, ballsy enough to take care of the research facility, and I certainly see why Rondaman the Blue really has hired you and sent you to me. But I'm sure that reactor damage was not there when you flew down to this planet.
Well, you got it back anyway.
Well, the way I see it is you still owe me for that reactor. Yeah, you owe me for that that damage, but
Put in the contract next time.
I'm willing to pay it forward to you all. You see, I'm a businessman at my heart, and I am very much of the opinion that you break it, you buy it, which is why I own so many shopkeepers or know so many shops.
Got a real lucrative business around here, don't you?
I do rather decently, but you have broken my ship. So what if I give you the opportunity to buy it from me?
Mythilin's gonna cross her arms right now and go, deal was we do the job and get paid. Are you gonna fall back on that? You're a man of your word, aren't you?
I'm not falling back on my word. I'm just negotiating the next deal.
Because it really just sounds like you don't want to pay us.
I would like to merely make sure that we're on a good footing for the next deal. Of course, your payment will go through. we're just here discussing business, of course.
Out of character question for you, Eli, generally. Are you planning for us to just like stick on this planet for a long while?
Well, I was trying to. I'm trying to find a way to help someone get one of their goals.
Ah, okay.
We had a long discussion
And
that this is not a starship. Just want to throw that out there.
Uh, still a vehicle, I guess. I don't know.
No. Again, remember we had a long discussion about what constitutes a starship and what does not. So you guys pointed out to me quite thoroughly that this ship does not come into play.
So that gives me at least something to work with, and
well, I was of the opinion that all ships can be modified and and changed, can they not?
No.
Like,
Nope, because you need a rondo drive to be a starship. And a rondo drive is not something you just attach to a ship. Essentially, starships, in this day and age, because that's pretty much like lost technology, these day and age, would have to be built around a rondo drive.
right. I think I can
Ah.
salvage this though by trying to like shift the goalpost to that instead, and try to say like it would be equivalent if I bought one of those. Because it definitely looks like he doesn't want to pay us either. So.
Oh, he said he does. He just is negotiating for the next job. It is what I gathered from it, at least.
All right, so Mitherland's gonna kind of cross her arms and go. It's like I'm not sure I want to stick around on this planet forever. I don't think I really need a walker that much. But if you're that keen to push some merchandise on me, you got anything that actually flies?
Anything that flies.
Might
I
be enough to cover the price difference for that reactor, you know? Maybe put that under the bridge.
I think I have something here or there that could actually fly if that's what you're looking for. I certainly have my share of parts.
It's got a rondo drive too, or atmospheric? What is it?
Ooh, a rondo drive. Let me think. If you'll give me but a moment, and he walks over to a computer he has built into what looks like the bar unit of the room, and he hits a few buttons. Ah, you're just in luck. I do have a ship with an available rondo drive, but that will certainly change what I had in mind.
Well,
It's
how about you put it all on the table then?
it's a much easier job. I swear. It's something in
Huh?
town even. Yes. You see, I have recently purchased uh, a condo unit in town. All above the board. I like to provide affordable housing to some of my workers, the employees. We must take the power back, as you assuredly know. And I have some various interests in setting up some equipment inside some of these apartments, and I just would ask that you, as outsiders, you have a little bit more presence, an outside influence, as one might say, and certainly your actions at the research facility are of worthy notice. He picks up a remote, and he clicks a button, and a TV screen on the room lights up, and you see footage of you guys standing outside, blasting open the doors to the research facility, and Neferu destroying robots one at a time as they approach.
Oh, this is my good
It
side.
it, uh, it certainly looks like it, and it certainly has caught the attention of a number of the citizens with a rather interesting, how would one say, reputation. And so I feel that if you use that reputation to ask the folks in some of the apartments to clear out, let my equipment be set up by one of my technicians, and all you have to do is uh, make sure that the equipment runs smoothly in an uninterrupted process, and we can all help each other out. I can provide a vehicle for you, and uh, you provide a very helpful service to me.
I see. I feel a bit in a corner, but I guess it's something we'll have to go with.
Now the unfortunate downside is I do need a little bit of time. These processes take some time, and I must gather the correct equipment and make sure that your ship is, of course, available for you to fly. Minor detailing work, make sure it's operatable.
Gotta file off those
Install some.
serial numbers. I understand.
Good heavens, no! You find yourself at a place that is full of industry. It is not necessarily that you are. We have to file off the serial numbers. No, we just have to make sure that the right parts are in place and has been properly inspected. We are all about quality here.
Of course. Quality work, quality job. Well, I can go tell everyone else about that. And if I can go ahead and get the paycheck, then I'll come back when you're ready. I'll go ahead and share some contact details with them to specifically, like, we'll be, like, around here. This is how you can communicate to us easily.
You guys hadn't set up any sort of housing yet. You guys had, at the moment, this is the first day that you've arrived on planet. So you guys had mainly
Okay.
just been operating out of your ship.
I guess, like, second day, but we've been out in the wilderness, so.
Second day, yeah. So you guys returned to that cave on the Caldera.
Right, so maybe I'll work something out with him. It's like, I'll ask, like, do you have a recommendation? He'll say, like, oh, yes, over here. It's like, okay, I'll get a place there, and you could probably just call the front desk or something.
Well, oh, you need a place. Well,
Short
I
term, of course.
did. Oh, well, short term. Well, nothing is more short term than the apartment complex I just managed to possess. There are certainly some open rooms if you're looking for a short term lease.
I'm gonna narrow my eyes down at him a little bit. Do you want us to stay on planet for the job or not?
Well, yes, and I would not want you to be cheated by anyone else.
Hold up a second. I got a phone call.
By anyone else.
And he answers a phone. Oh, these business negotiations. So, while he's getting a phone call, why don't Neferu? How long are you going to continue to buy services over the next few days, or how long is it going to take you to be fully healed?
Well, at 15% a day. Well, no, it would be 10% unless we also count the rest as something separate.
How much money do you have?
Well, yeah, it's automatically 5% for rest, and if you're buying healing, that's on top of it, I believe.
I have 14 notes, 96 quavers.
So you almost have 15 notes.
Yes.
Nice.
How much is it costing you a day?
Let me go.
To get 10%, it looks like 3 notes. So if you wanted to get 15% a day.
And you're already at 15% because you've already spent 3 notes. Right?
Yeah.
Well, you'd be at 20%. Well, at the end of you'd be at 15 now before you rest at the. So it would not be very expensive. Of course, I would. It would just be the very minimum, the fee for this establishment. That's for Griffin.
Yeah,
What he
then
says about his.
Yeah, so Mitherland's like looking at him, and she's actually just going to glare a little bit more in a go ahead and tell me what the price is kind of way.
Well, it's like I said, it's rather just repossessed, so it's not incredibly furnished. It's mostly what the old bad tenants had left there. But for you guys, for my favorite mercenaries, it'll just be half a note a day.
And how long does it look like until you're going to be ready?
I would give it, let's say, 2 weeks to make sure everything is fair and square and all set up. It would just be a measly 7 notes for a wonderful, I might say, even a vacation stay. The planet has a lot to offer.
Mitherland thinks for a bit and just kind of like goes back to like general pricing and kind of things. Yeah, that'll be fine.
Delightful. Then I will just he looks down at the counter. I'll just shave off some of here. I'll just take it off on the front end, and then that way we don't even have to worry about it. Between friends, really, what's a little bit of money, right? We can trust each other, right?
Don't think I'm gonna fall for any of this company town bullshit.
Oh, right. Then there's union dues, and then there's tax, of course, and then exchange rate. And
if I were in a different mood, we'd be in a long talk about these fake ass corporate unions of yours right now here. But that's not what I'm here for today. And I still have to take care of 2 people who are probably still bleeding out somewhere in the hospital room.
And did you top off that walker you borrowed? I just got fuel costs, and
I will burn every drop of fuel in there over your hands. Mitherland plays in her head before thinking, I'm not going to do that threat yet. I'll save that.
Oh, it's on empty? No. That's a little more. For my calculations, a little off. But he... how are notes usually transported? Are they on...
Good question.
I'm remembering is Eclipse phase is when they were on the data sticks, and then
you two got any insight?
Yeah, does anyone have any insight?
What does a
minute.
currency represent today's skill?
I remember reading it somewhere.
Fiber optic papers with encoded patterns were made to prevent counterfeiting. They're dollar bills sometimes. There's probably
bills.
also electronic checks and stuff like that too.
All right, so this would be most likely for him because of the nature of the business he usually runs. He most likely has just paper notes. And so he...
Oh, you put it all onto a company card that has a 5% transaction fee. How nice of you.
Oh, but you can earn reward points. It's a good scheme. You'll get a discount on your fuel costs next time.
Oh, good, for refueling the walker.
Exactly.
So yeah, electronic measure, and I'll just go ahead and take that.
Yeah, so he'll give you just he'll just give you a data stick, and he'll unplug it from his computer, and this should be everything you need, and it is. But if you're leaving planet, I would just advise that you cash this. Things have been rather volatile on Putov, and I I do not know how often they are accepted on other planets.
I'll just go ahead and take the card, and I'll go and say, well, you know where we'll be. We'll go ahead and get yourself set up for now.
Delightful. I actually have to take a quick bio break, so I will be right back.
Understandable. I'll have a quick petting this dog break. 'Cause she is
That's
a
cool.
good puppy.
I'm looking at the doctor rules, and I think I'm going to actually go for a dark clinic because, now hear me out on this.
Go for
If
it.
it's too successful on bad medicine, so I might get addicted and have to go through this all again. But one of the boons you can get from bad medicine is removing injured. So if this works, I will spend a lot less time in the hospital.
And if it doesn't work, you just become addicted.
Which takes a doctor's visit to get rid of this injured.
Right.
So,
but you can only do it once a day. Once a rest,
Yep.
which means you'll be addicted, and you'll be addicted for the whole day. And then you might fail your next roll and become even more addicted. You could just become an addiction spiral. You know, like real doctors do.
That's how it goes. It's a slippery slope. You start with Twizzlers and Skittles, and then the next thing you know, you're on hard.
Marrying a scalpel.
So yeah, so we're gonna get the starship for you, which should be good. And of course we have another mission to go do, so that's gonna be good. And Eli's back. Hey,
I've
Eli,
returned.
quick question: How much money is on the card right now?
There are 4 of you. I believe it will have. It should have 20 notes on it.
I'm sorry, did I miss something? Card?
Yeah, we were talking about like digital transfers and electronic transfers.
That
and
does
stuff.
not exist in this setting.
well,
Oh, at
technically it does because
Literally exists on this line right now. Electronic banking is limited to wired money transfers, basically a check sent by telegram.
Right, you understand how communication works.
Sorry, I didn't read all of that. Though.
Yeah. Yeah, there would be no updating between your bank account
the
anywhere.
implication is that this is a planetary, corporate-handled debit card.
Right,
Probably
so
corp script.
this would only work on this planet.
Right,
you
that's
have-
what he said as much.
Okay.
That's why he said make sure to cash it before you leave Putov.
Right, okay. That's what I'm saying, because even just automated tellers are extremely rare. And those are handled by check, not even a bank card. So,
Yeah, so I may have jumped the gun a little bit there, so... hey, there's this weird technology in this planet, wow.
I want to point out, I just want
fine.
to re-point out again, this is retro sci-fi. This isn't modern sci-fi.
I mean, there were credit cards in the 70s.
Yeah, and that was modern technology. Retro sci-fi.
Yeah. Still at any rate, the split is 5 each. The Theta G-Min, bringing you back to life costs 2 for spare parts, and then 2.5 to fix you up.
Cool, so you're taking on that debt yourself. That's very magnanimous of you. That's very magnanimous of you. I didn't ask you to bring me back to life. I'll take my 5 notes now, thank you.
Yeah, I can take that life back, Plank.
I mean, if you want to, go ahead, shoot me. Shoot right at me. I think you'll find that I'm best when redirecting that aggression.
Wait, is the best way to attack him then to attack yourself?
Wow.
Yeah, shoot
Mind
yourself
games.
in the head. Clearly the bullet will
You
go
can't
right for me.
redirect This.
Aha, kill steal. Ah.
just pull Yoshimitsu.
But yeah, I ended up spending money on this hazmat suit, and I still want to get my cooler punk outfit. Off you go, doggy. Not punk outfit. What is it called? Yeah, the Ganger outfit. Still want to get that, but I just won't get the money at this rate, especially if I got to keep paying for people to get fixed. But I think, needless to say, after I talk to everyone, I give you your shares, and I describe what's happening, I'm going to be like, I'm not going to be the one paying for any more group expenditures for a little while, if that's all right.
Fine by me. I could have helped.
Speaking of group expenditures, we got a place. I say we go check it out and see how many roaches they have there. Are you up for it?
Yes.
All right. So we're gonna go check out our accommodations, I think.
So the non-factory areas have a very much like Judge Dredd-ish vibe, with less of the just constant street violence, but a lot of large towers and a lot of skyscraper style buildings in which people mainly live in rather close proximity to each other, along with separate buildings that are all shiny and slick that look like corporate offices and more corporate associations, and those start to kind of build more and more as you get closer there, closer towards the nicer areas of town. And there are also every once in a while you'll see what look like security buildings, where either some sort of police or either some sort of government run security firms, or maybe even corporate, you're not quite sure, but some sort of security has establishments every so often that you pass by. The apartment complex that he's given you several rooms, or a complex of rooms in, are okay. They look a little bit run down, but they actually looks more decent than you would have expected. You pass a lot of apartment buildings that are a lot worse than the one that you're going to. It's a nice one. It's kind of right on the edge of as things on the other side of it start rather rapidly getting nicer and nicer. So this is just a little bit on the edge. One of the interesting things to note is it's right next to a large corporate office that goes maybe about halfway up the side of the apartment building. You guys were given rooms that were all on the second to top floor, and as you get up there, you start to realize why these rooms might be the ones available. Is as you get higher and higher up in this apartment complex, there are the rooms are less and less used and more decrepit. It seems like and as you also start getting higher and higher, you notice less of the Ioti and more other races. So as you start getting higher and higher, you might even see a few Lamphirs or a few humans, or it just seems like there are more other races higher and higher on the higher floors of this building. What would you like to do?
I guess it'd probably be a good point to mention, like, we've swapped sessions, our first mission's over, my regulars are probably split and gone their own way right now. And if I pull them in again, I'll need to make a roll.
Okay. Yeah.
But we'll ignore them for now until, like, I actually need to go out and do something, which will be when we do the real mission. But
Yeah.
for now, I'll probably settle into our place, just, like, throw a bag in a corner, claim a bed, and then maybe I'll just go around and talk to all the neighbors, see, like, hey, how's this place? How many places aren't occupied here? And things like that.
The place that you've been given is some sort of pod of apartments, and so you have about 5 rooms between the 4 of you and whatever servants or allies you have, and a single living room area as well. What else? So Mitherlin is going to look around, ask around to people around him.
I'm going to start saying hi to the neighbors.
What about Jamin and Nefera? What would you like to do?
Well, I was thinking about going around looking for some black market contacts or various streetwise people to maybe figure out more about this Lazaro guy if they know him here.
Okay, so you're going to try to figure out more information on Lazaro. All right.
Yep.
And what about Jamin?
Yeah, I'll go with Nefiro.
All right, you two are going to go together. Since you guys haven't been doing as much, let's start with you two. You're going around and trying to establish some black market contacts and try to ask some information about Lazaro. What sort of tax are you gonna? How are you gonna try to approach that?
I'm gonna do it just as a friendly person now. It's like, oh, I just moved in, you know?
Mitherlin, you're asking other people. I'm starting with those two,
Oh, okay, I'm
Neferu
sorry.
and
I felt like
Jamin.
the questions got mixed together. I misunderstood which
Yep.
two you meant.
Yeah, I like that. These two haven't done anything in a while. So what are you guys gonna do to? Well,
Yep.
No, I thought it meant me and like Ark. I'm sorry.
Well, we'll just mention, we're here with Ronnie the Blue. He had us do a job with a man named Lazaro. I'd like to know if you know anything about this esteemed and wonderful man named Lazaro.
All right, roll your what ability is this usually associated with?
questioning.
Questioning and possibly streetwise. And I believe it would be mine and questioning.
Give me a mind and questioning roll then. And are you assisting Jamin or are you rolling separately? How does that?
I was rolling separately. I assumed that if I was gonna assist, I would have had to have declared it first.
Yep.
I just figured I had all right dice. I did not, apparently.
Yeah, I mean you had the right dice. It just the luck wasn't there.
And my favorite use for questioning is streetwise types.
That would perfectly apply.
You mean like criminal element?
Yep. Sweet.
And that'll give you 2 successes. And so we'll say that the first success from Jamin is Jamin's asking around. He finds you the right area to ask around, and then Neferu, you start digging in, and with your underworld connections, that's where you start getting these successes, and you start to actually be able to find people that have the information you're actually looking for Lazaro. So you end up meeting a Ioti by the name of Zopnir Cacklet. And that's I'll put that in chat so that you guys know the name. You have to go into a little bit of a seedier area of the town. You enter down into a basement room where he's got somewhat of a pawn shop set up, and you see there's various items where he's selling exotic meats and other items, and you've been told a various password to ask about. It's a certain special that he runs. It's one of the it's a strange old human food, or so your contacts have told you, that no one would ever bother to order or even eat. You just have to go in and ask for the corn dog.
I see. Thank you. She will definitely go in and ask for the corn dog.
A discerning customer, of course. Very rare few people come for the corn dog. I assume you must have visited one of these human worlds. a fair food that they have there all the time.
Yes.
Well, right this way. Take a seat just on that booth right there by the bar, and I'll have your corn dog out in just a moment.
All right, she'll take her seat.
There's several moments go by. He goes back into the back kitchen area, and I mean, you can hear the banging of pots, and you hear some words in Ioti that don't sound very nice. And another Ioti comes up and takes position at the cashier position, and then the same Ioti comes up, and he's got some sort of tray with a strange looking meat on a stick. It doesn't look like a corn dog as that we would know, but it looks like some strange meat on some sort of skewer. He plops it down, and this right here is what the humans call a corn dog, a delicacy only served to the rarest and most elite, especially at social gatherings. I hope you enjoy. Is this what you were looking for?